Hello, hi guys. This is CA Balakrishna. How are you? Hope you people are doing well. Even I am fantastic. In the today's class, we will be revising our fifth chapter, which is completely about standards that are related to audit report. So, which series deals with this audit report? 700 series, right? In this 700 series, we are having six standards. But however, for intermediate level, SA-720, it is not there in our syllabus, right? So, here we will be discussing SA-700, 701, 705, 710, and also 706. These five standards we will be revising in this chapter. Got it? So what is the without any waste of time, we'll quickly start the revision. So what is the first standard of 700 series? Of course it is SA-700. Now this SA-700, it deals with a format of audit report. What should be the format of audit report? What paragraphs should be there, and in each of that paragraph what should be the content that should be there, that will be dealt in SA-700. So if you are giving unmodified opinion, that is clean opinion, then the format will be dealt by SA-700. Let's say you are giving a modified opinion, either qualified, adverse, or disclaimer, then the format of audit report will be dealt by SA-705. Correct or not? So both SA-700, 705 both deals with formats of audit report only, but SA-700 with respect to format in case of unmodified opinion, whereas SA-705 with respect to format of audit report in case of modified opinion. However, both the formats will be same only. Whatever the format we will be discussing in SA-700, that will be same in SA-705 also, just that some three paragraphs will be changed. Firstly, if you are giving modified opinion, opinion paragraph will change, basis for opinion paragraph will change, and auditor's responsibility paragraph will change in case of modified opinion. Remaining all the paragraphs that we have discussed in unmodified opinion will be as it is present, even in case of format of audit report in case of modified opinion as per SA-705. Okay, first of all we will be covering SA-700. So the standards covered here are SA-700, 701 which deals with CAM, 705 modification, 706 EOM and OM, and SA-710. Right, now starting with SA-700, which deals with forming an opinion and reporting on financial statements in case of unmodified opinion. So first of all, what is a difference between a report and certificate? See, in case of a report, auditor expresses opinion, right, whether financial statements are showing true and fair view or not. Like this you will give the opinion, whereas in case of a certificate, you will certify actual facts. See, report involves expression of opinion, whereas certificate is a written confirmation of the accuracy of the facts. So in case of report, responsible to ensure that a report is based on factual data, and in case of certificate, responsible for factual accuracy of the data that has been given. So that is a simple difference between report and certificate. Next, what are the types of audit evidences that are available? Firstly, we have unmodified opinion. When you will give unmodified opinion, when there are no misstatements in the financial statements, and financial statements have been prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework, then you will give unmodified opinion. And here in SA-700 we will be discussing about that unmodified opinion only. Next one is modified opinion. Again, this modified opinion is of three types. One is qualified, adverse, disclaimer. About these three things we will cover in SA-705, right? So when you will give modified opinion, if after doing the audit, if you find that there are material misstatements in the financial statements, or financial statements have not been prepared as per applicable financial reporting framework, in these two situations you will give modified opinion. Correct or not? Or you are also not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, in such a situation also you will give modified opinion only. About this clearly we will see in which situation which type of opinion, that also we will see in SA-705. I have prepared a chart for you, so with the help of that chart you can easily remember whether to give qualified, adverse, or disclaimer. Okay, so now firstly, the format of audit report. What are the basic elements, the paragraphs that will be there in the audit report? Let's see. First of all, there will be title, right? What will be the title of audit report? It will be independent auditors report. Next, there will be address, that means to whom you are giving this audit report. Generally, in case of company, you will give audit report to members. So next thing is address. Next, you will have opinion. After that, see, in this opinion paragraph, you will actually give your opinion, right? So in the opinion paragraph, there should be reference to certain 5 points. These 5 points must be present in the opinion paragraph. We will discuss one by one paragraph, uh, each paragraph here only, so that it will not be like we will read all these elements and again go to those elements and read it. So opinion paragraph, what should be there in the auditor's opinion paragraph? First of all, this will contain auditor's opinion, correct or not, whether you are giving unmodified opinion, qualified, adverse, disclaimer, that will be there in where? In the opinion paragraph only. Next, identify name of the entity. If you are doing audit of Reliance Industries, then in opinion paragraph you should identify that we are auditing the financial statements of Reliance Industries, like this. The name of the entity should be identified. Next, state that financial statements have been audited. Okay, in this opinion paragraph you have to clearly mention that we have audited the financial statements of so and so company. Okay, this also should be stated. Next, identify title of each financial statements. Now financial statements contain balance sheet, profit and loss, cash flow statement, statement of changes in equity. The title of each this item of financial statements should be identified by you in the opinion paragraph. And what is the period covered by that each item? See, specify the date of or period covered by the financial statements, like balance sheet as on so and so date, profit and loss statement for the period ended so and so date. Like this, you need to specify along with the date, and you should also make a reference to the notes. So these 5 things must be there in the opinion paragraph along with your opinion. Understanding? In our class, in our regular class, we have discussed with we have discussed this by comparing with audit report of Reliance Industries. Remember, we have taken annual report of Reliance Industries, and there we have discussed whether these things are there in the audit report or not in the opinion paragraph, if you remember, right? Next, after opinion there will be basis for opinion. See, basis for opinion contains on which basis you have given the opinion. That reasoning will be there in the basis for opinion paragraph. See, basis for opinion paragraph, these things should be there in the basis for opinion paragraph. Firstly, state that audit was conducted in accordance with standards on auditing. So the opinion that you are giving is based on standards on auditing that you will mention. Still, your opinion is also based on the auditor's responsibility. See, I have my some responsibilities that I have listed them in the auditor's responsibility paragraph. In the audit report itself, there will be some another paragraph by name auditor's responsibility paragraph. In that paragraph, there are my responsibilities. On that basis, I have given my opinion. Next basis, state that auditor is independent and has fulfilled all the requirements of code of ethics. So independence is also basis for my opinion, and I have also fulfilled all the requirements of code of ethics. That 5 fundamental principles, if you remember: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional competence, due care and professional behavior. So all these 5 principles I have followed, that you will say. Next, state whether auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence or not. See, audit evidence is also one of the basis for your opinion, correct or not? Your opinion you will give based on the audit evidence only, right? So you will also say whether sufficient appropriate audit evidence has been obtained or not. That is the basis for opinion paragraph. After that, you will have material uncertainty related to going concern paragraph. So this paragraph you will give as per SA 570. We will discuss about that in SA 570. So if auditor finds that there is any material uncertainty related to going concern assumption of the entity, then auditor will report the same in this particular paragraph as per SA 570. Next, you have emphasis of matter paragraph. Emphasis of matter paragraph we will discuss in SA 706. There we will discuss about that emphasis of matter paragraph. Got it? Next, Key audit matter we will discuss in SA 701. Next, other information will be dealt in SA 720, but this is not there for your syllabus, correct or not? Next, management responsibility paragraph. So what should be there in the management responsibility paragraph? Let us see. So management responsibility paragraph should clearly mention that management is responsible for preparing financial statements. Next, management is also responsible for establishing internal controls. Right. Next, management is also responsible for assessing whether the entity will be able to continue as a going concern in the foreseeable future or not. That is also responsibilities of the management, correct or not? Next, you need to identify those responsible for the oversight of financial reporting process. So in the entity who is responsible for overseeing the entire financial reporting process, you need to identify that person. And in case the person who is actually exercising, or the person who is actually doing that activity of oversight is different from the person who is having the responsibility, then you should also mention the person who is actually exercising that oversight function, understanding. So these things will be there in management responsibility paragraph. After management responsibility paragraph, you have auditors responsibility paragraph. So what will be there in the auditor's responsibility paragraph? First of all, the responsibility of the auditor, that is the objective as per SA 200 that we have discussed, that will be there as it is. The auditors responsibility paragraph, all these things will be there. We'll see one by one. First of all, state auditor's objective. What is the objective of auditor? To obtain reasonable assurance that financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on whether financial statements have been prepared as in all material respects as per applicable financial reporting framework or not. That is a responsibility of auditor, objective of auditor, which we have discussed in SA 200. The same thing you will mention. Next, state that here you are mentioning that auditor will obtain reasonable assurance. Now users will not know what is meant by reasonable assurance. We have discussed that there are three types of assurances: reasonable assurance, absolute assurance, limited assurance. So you will give definition of what is meant by reasonable assurance in your auditor's responsibility paragraph. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance but not a complete assurance. Next, you will also state that misstatements can arrive in the or arise in the financial statements because of fraud or error. And you will also describe what is the meaning of the term materiality, because auditor is concerned only with the material misstatements but not with all the misstatements, right? So you will also describe or give definition of what is meant by materiality. Materiality means generally something that will affect the economic decision making of the user. The same definition you will give. Next, you will also state that auditor during the audit has exercised PJ and PS. PJ means professional judgment. PS means professional skepticism. So we have discussed the difference between professional judgment and professional skepticism already. Again, I will repeat. Professional judgment means applying your knowledge, experience, expertise for taking a particular decision is known as a professional judgment. Professional skepticism means having a questioning mind. You need to question everything, and being alert to misstatement, that is also included in professional skepticism. And also finally, critical assessment of audit evidence. These three things will be included in the professional skepticism. So you need to say that during the audit I have maintained professional judgment and professional skepticism. Next, you have to describe audit by stating that auditors responsibilities are to identify and assess ROMM, risk of material misstatement, and also obtain understanding of internal control that are relevant to the audit. Here you need to clearly mention that I will not provide any opinion on the effectiveness of internal control. Right. Next, evaluate appropriateness of accounting policies, whether accounting policies used or appropriate or not. And you should also conclude on appropriateness of management's use of going concern. In management responsibility paragraph, we have discussed that management is responsible for assessing whether the entity will be able to continue as a going concern or not. Now, in the auditor's responsibility paragraph, it is responsibility of the auditor to check whether management has properly made their assessment or not, whether the assessment made by the management with respect to going concern is reasonable or not. That you will check, right? Next, evaluate overall presentation structure and content of financial statements. So it is also responsibility of the auditor to evaluate overall content and structure and presentation of the financial statements. Next, you will also state that auditor communicates with those charged with governance the following things. See, the auditor communicates planned scope and timing with those charged with governance. Significant audit findings you will communicate, and you will also communicate that you have complied with all the ethical requirements, and you will communicate all relationships, other matters that are regarding the independence. So all these things you will mention in auditor's responsibility paragraph. Got it? Next, you have other meta paragraph which we will discuss in SA 706 again. Next, you have signature. So signature, if the auditor is a sole proprietor, he will sign on his own behalf. If auditor is a partnership firm, he will sign on his behalf and also on behalf of the firm. Correct or not? Next, you have place of the signature. Now, what should be place of the signature? Whether it should be head office of the company, or it should be the head office of auditor, auditor's firm, or it should be the place where auditor is actually signing the audit report. See, here in the audit report, the place of signature that you will mention is the place where you are actually signing the audit report, irrespective of head office of client or head office of auditor firm. Understanding? Next, date of auditor's report. Now, while dating the auditor's report, you need to take care that the date of audit report is not prior to the date of obtaining all the audit evidences. Okay, only after obtaining all the audit evidences you have to date your audit report, because the opinion that you give in the audit report is based on the audit evidences. If you date the audit report without obtaining audit evidence, it means that you have not uh, given proper opinion without as you have not considered the audit evidences. Correct? So you have to date your audit report only after obtaining all the audit evidences. It is not that it should not be a situation that after dating the audit report you obtain audit evidences. That should never occur. Correct or not? Yes. So these are all the paragraphs of auditor's report in case auditor gives unmodified opinion. Now, when auditor is giving unmodified opinion, what will be the wordings of his paragraph? That depends on which financial reporting framework the management is using. See, if the management is using fair presentation framework, if the management uses fair presentation framework, then auditor can use any of these two paragraphs to give his opinion. See, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects, or you can say that in our opinion, accompanying financial statements give true and fair view. So you can use either true and fair view or fairly present. From these two terms you can use any of the thing if the management is following fair presentation framework and auditor is giving a unmodified opinion. If management is following compliance framework, then the wording should be the accompanying financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Got it? Yes. So by this mostly SA-700 is done. Yes, still we have requirement with respect to UDIN. What is meant by UDIN? Unique document identification number. Why this UDIN is introduced? To curb the practice of fake CAC issuing the reports. UDIN is a 18-digit alphanumeric number which is unique. Correct or not? So it is mandatory from 1st February 2019 for all the certificates and reports that are signed by chartered accountants. That is about UDIN. Next, location of auditor's responsibility paragraph. Now there are three options available for locating the auditor's responsibility paragraph. You can give it either in the main audit report itself, or you can give auditor's responsibility paragraph as an annexure to the audit report, or if the auditor's responsibility are already mentioned somewhere in the website, in any website of the law or authority, then you can make a reference to that website where the responsibilities of auditors are present. Understood? Yes. That is SA 700. Hope you understood SA 700. Now we will move to SA 705, which deals with the format of audit report in case of modified opinion. Okay. So after discussing 705, we will go to SA 701. Okay. So now, first of all, what happened? Yeah. First of all, what is name of SA-705? Modifications to the opinion in the independent auditor's report. So we will see what are the, just a second. So yeah, sorry for the disturbance. Actually, the green screen has fallen down. That's why I have to adjust it. The thing is, presently I'm in a hotel room. I'm not in my regular studio. I'm traveling actually. So in the hotel room itself, I've set up a small green screen. I'm recording the classes. Actually, I've come to Bangalore for taking the physical classes here for CA inter students. And physical classes are morning actually till 1 o'clock. And since in the evening I'll be having no work, I'm recording the classes, revision classes for you people. So yes, now we'll go to SA 705. So we'll see what are the situations first of all in which auditor will give modified opinion. Now, if based on the audit evidence, auditor feels that the financial statements there are material misstatements in the financial statements, then the auditor will give modified opinion. Or auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Also, in such situation, auditor will give modified opinion. What are various types of modified opinions? This we have already discussed. Opinions are of first of all unmodified, modified, and in modified, qualified, adverse, and disclaimer. Now we will see one of the important concept, that is how to determine whether to give qualified opinion, adverse opinion, or disclaimer of opinion. Now this depends on three factors. So whether to give qualified, adverse, disclaimer depends on three factors. You need to remember the three factors. What are those three factors? First factor is whether audit evidence is available. This is the first factor that needs to be considered, availability of audit evidence. Next, whether the misstatement is material. This is the second factor that you need to consider. Third one, if material, whether the misstatement is pervasive also. Now what is meant by pervasive, sir? See, there is a definition for pervasiveness. So a misstatement will be treated as pervasive if many items in the financial statements are misstated. So if there are misstatements in many items of the financial statements, you will say that misstatements are pervasively present across the financial statements. See, describes the effect of misstatements, possible misstatements on the financial statements in relation to amounts. They are not confined to specific element, accounts, or items of financial statements. Or if there is a misstatement in only one item, see, the definition that they are saying for pervasiveness is that misstatements are there in many items, then you will call it as a pervasive. Let's say for example, misstatement is there only in one item, like inventory. There is misstatement in inventory, but inventory represents, let's say for example, 80% of total assets of the company. In this situation, even though misstatement is only in one area, since this represents a significant portion of assets of the company, you will treat this as a pervasive. Getting it? Understood? Yes. Next, in relation to disclosures, if it is fundamental to users understanding of financial statements, and such disclosures are misstated, you will call it as pervasive. Understood? So for checking the type of modified opinion, you need to remember these three things: availability of audit evidence, is misstatement material, and is misstatement pervasive. So based on these three things, we will determine the opinion. Let's see. So if audit evidence is available and misstatement is material but not pervasive, then you will give qualified opinion. Or audit evidence is not available but misstatement is material but not pervasive. In this situation also you will give qualified opinion. So in first two situations you will give qualified opinion. Next, audit evidence is available, misstatement is material and also pervasive, then you will give adverse opinion. Next situation, audit evidence is not available, and if at all there are any misstatements, that misstatements will be material and also pervasive, then auditor will give disclaimer of opinion. What is meant by disclaimer of opinion? Not claiming any opinion is known as a disclaimer of opinion. So in effect, you are not giving any opinion in case of a disclaimer of opinion. Understanding? Yes. Next, so in case you give modified opinion, the format will be same as we have discussed in SA-700. I have told you, right? But just three paragraphs will change. What are those three paragraphs that will change? First of all, since you are changing your opinion from unmodified to modified, opinion paragraph will change. Correct or not? Opinion paragraph will change, and the basis for opinion will paragraph will also automatically changes if opinion paragraph changes. And finally, auditor's responsibility paragraph also changes only if you are giving a disclaimer of opinion. If you are giving qualified opinion or adverse opinion, auditor's responsibility paragraph, it will not change. Understanding? Yes. Note another important point that you need to remember is, if auditor is giving modified opinion in his audit report in such a situation, and that modified opinion is of disclaimer of opinion, that means if auditor gives a disclaimer of opinion in the audit report, auditor should not mention CAM, key audit matter paragraph, and other matter paragraph in his audit report. Understanding? So whenever auditor is giving disclaimer of opinion in his audit report, that audit report should not contain key audit matter paragraph and other information matter paragraph. Understanding? Not other matter paragraph, other information paragraph. What is meant by other information, sir? Sir, in the annual report there will be various items, various reports in the annual report, like there will be director responsibility statement, management discussion and analysis, right? Like this various things will be there. Apart from that, audited financial statements and audit report will also be there. So let's say this is the annual report. In this annual report, apart from financial statements and audit report, apart from these two things, whatever other information is there in the annual report, you will call it as other information. Understanding? Yes. Next, next, what are the wordings of each paragraph? So just like of if auditor gives unmodified opinion, what wordings he will use we have seen. Similarly, if auditor gives modified opinion, what wordings he will use. So wordings of opinion paragraph in case of modified opinion. So if he is giving qualified opinion, so in case of qualified opinion, what he will say is, except for the matters described in the basis for opinion paragraph, remaining financial statements are showing true and fair view, or remaining financial statements are presented fairly. Like this, the auditor will say in case of qualified opinion. Understanding? See, in case of qualified opinion, except for effects of matters described in basis for qualified opinion, and the management has used fair presentation framework, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects, argue true and fair use. So in case of unmodified opinion, this thing was not there, except, you will not say. In case of unmodified opinion, you will say that complete financial statements are showing true and fair use in case of unmodified opinion. But in case of qualified opinion, you will say that except for the misstatements that I have disclosed in the qualified opinion basis for opinion paragraph, remaining all other financial statements are showing true and fair use. And in case of compliance framework is followed, except the matter that I have shown in the basis for opinion paragraph, remaining financial statements are prepared as per the applicable financial reporting framework. Like this, you will say. Understanding? Yes. Next, what is this? Yeah. adverse opinion paragraph. So in case of adverse opinion paragraph, what will be the wordings? See, in case of adverse opinion paragraph, you will say that complete financial statements are not showing true and fair view. You will not say except for the item disclosed in basis for opinion. No, complete financial statements are not showing true and fair view. See, in the auditor's opinion, because of the significance of matter described in basis for adverse opinion section and fair presentation framework is followed, the accompanying financial statements do not present fairly or do not give true and fair view. And in case compliance framework is followed, you will say the accompanying financial statements have not been prepared in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Understanding? Yes. Next, disclaimer of opinion paragraph. See, in case of disclaimer of opinion, you are not at all giving a opinion. So your wordings will be like this. When auditor disclaims an opinion due to inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, then he will say the following three statements in his opinion. First of all, state that auditor doesn't express any opinion. I am not expressing any opinion. This you will mention in case of disclaimer of opinion. Next, you will state that because of the matter described in the basis for a disclaimer of opinion paragraph, auditor has not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. This also you will say. Next, you will amend the statement required by SA-700, which indicates that financial statements have been audited to state that auditor was engaged to audit the financial statements. If you remember, one of the point that should be there in the opinion paragraph, if you give unmodified opinion, is we have audited the financial statements. Like this, you should mention in SA-700. We have discussed that thing, that line will be changed to a statement that we were appointed to audit the financial statement. See, that state that auditor was engaged to audit financial statements, but we have not audited and we have not provided any opinion. This is how you will give in case of a disclaimer of opinion. Next, so that is the first paragraph that will change, which is opinion paragraph. See, along with the content, the heading will also change. In case unmodified opinion, you are giving opinion, right? In case qualified opinion, the heading will be qualified opinion paragraph. In case of adverse opinion, heading will be adverse opinion. Disclaimer of opinion, right? So accordingly, the paragraph heading will also change. Understanding? Yes. Next, basis for modification opinion paragraph. Basis for modification opinion paragraph. This is the second paragraph that will change. I have told you, right? So first of all, as it is, the heading will change from the basis for opinion, it will change to basis for qualified opinion, basis for adverse opinion, basis for disclaimer of opinion. Like this, the heading will change. After that, you should include the description. See, basis for opinion paragraph means what? On which basis you are arriving at the opinion that you have showed in the opinion paragraph. That should be there in the basis for opinion paragraph. That means you are giving the reasons for the misstatement in basis for opinion paragraph. Correct or not? So you need to describe the misstatement in the basis for opinion paragraph. How you will describe? Let us see. Description of matter giving rise to modification. So what is the cause of modification and how you will describe it? Let's see. First of all, if there are material misstatements in amounts, so amounts have been materially misstated, then you need to describe and quantify the effect of misstatement on the financial statement. So you need to quantify how much misstatement is there. Because of this misstatement, how much profit will get impacted. You need to quantify the amount of misstatement. And if it is impracticable to quantify, then you need to state the reasons why it is impracticable to quantify. Understanding? So this is how you will disclose in the basis for opinion paragraph. If you are giving a modification of opinion because of misstatement in amount, if there is a material misstatement related to narrative disclosures, in such a situation you will explain how the disclosures are misstated, right? Next, if there is a non-disclosure of information that has to be disclosed, then you will first of all discuss this matter with those charged with governance. Those charged with governance, there is a particular disclosure that has to be given in the financial statements, but you have not disclosed it. Like this, you will tell them. After that, describe the nature of omitted information. What is the nature of such omitted information? And if it is permitted by law, auditor will give that disclosure in the basis for opinion paragraph. See, that disclosure should be actually given in the financial statements, but in the financial statements management has not given. So in the basis for opinion paragraph, auditor will mention this is the disclosure that should be given in the financial statements. Like this, you give that disclosure in the basis for opinion paragraph. Understanding? See, unless prohibited by law or regulation, include the omitted disclosures if it is practicable to do so, and the auditor has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence about the omitted evidence. Next, if it is if you are facing inability to obtain a sufficient appropriate audit evidence, then you will state the reasons for that inability. Correct or not? Yes. So this is how you will deal with a different type of misstatements that occurs. Next, so from the basis for opinion paragraph, there should be certain exclusions. So if auditor is giving a disclaimer of opinion, then the basis for opinion paragraph should not refer to auditor's responsibility paragraph. We have seen in the basis for opinion paragraph, there should be four things that should be there. First of all, I am giving my opinion based on standards on auditing, and my opinion is also based on sufficient appropriate audit evidence. I have complied with independence and the ethical requirements. And the final one is this only, reference to auditor's responsibility paragraph. So if you are giving a disclaimer of opinion, the basis for opinion paragraph should not contain such reference to auditor's responsibility, and should not contain a statement that you have obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence, because you are disclaiming opinion, not claiming any opinion. Not claiming, why you are not claiming any opinion? Because you have not obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Since you have not obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence, you should not state that you have obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Understanding? Yes. Next, change in auditor's responsibility paragraph in case of disclaimer of opinion. So if you give disclaimer of opinion, auditor's responsibility paragraph should contain only following items. First of all, statement that auditor's responsibility is to conduct the audit. See, all the points that we have discussed in auditor's responsibility paragraph in SA-700, that should not be that should be completely removed if you are giving a disclaimer of opinion, and only these 3 points should be kept. So first one is this. Next, statement that because of matters described in basis for disclaimer of opinion, auditor is not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Next, a statement about auditor's independence and ethical responsibilities. Only these 3 points will be there in the auditor's responsibility paragraph if auditor is giving a disclaimer of opinion. Next, if management has imposed any limitation after auditor has accepted the engagement. What is meant by limitation? Management is saying, auditor, you don't send external confirmation. Auditor, you don't attend physical inventory verification. So if management is putting any such limitations on the auditor, then what the auditor has to do? First of all, auditor will see what is the reasons why the management is putting these limitations on me. So if the limitation lead the auditor to express qualified disclaimer of opinion, request the management to remove the limitation. If management refuses to remove the limitation, communicate the matter to those charged with governance. Those charged with governance, management is putting these limitations and they are not removing the limitations. You will communicate them, and you will see whether it is possible to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence through alternate audit evidence. Okay, management is not allowing me to go to physical inventory verification. Whether I can obtain audit evidence about inventory by performing some alternate audit procedures, that you will see. Next, unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence through alternate audit procedure also. So by performing alternate audit procedures also, you are not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. And since you are not able to obtain audit evidence, you will give either qualified or disclaimer of opinion. So if, see, possible effects of undetected misstatements are material but not pervasive, then you will give qualified opinion. If possible misstatements are both material and pervasive, you will first of all see whether it is practicable to withdraw from the audit. If it is not possible to withdraw from the audit, then you will give disclaimer of opinion. Understood? So this is SA 705, which is about modification to the auditor's report. Next we'll go to SA 701, which is key audit matters. Correct or not? So what is meant by key audit matter? Meaning of key audit matter. So those matters that in the auditor's professional judgment are most significant in the audit of current period financial statements. So for the audit of current period financial statements, those matters that are very much important will be termed as key audit matters. Understood? See, there is a procedure for determining this key audit matter that we will see. Okay. Next, for whom this SA-701 is applicable, that is for whom this key audit matter is applicable. See, only for the audit of listed entities, the key audit matter is mandatorily applicable. So only in case of audit of listed entity, auditor will give key audit matter paragraph. And in case of unlisted entities also, voluntarily if auditor wants, he can uh, give this paragraph, key audit matter paragraph in his audit report. So voluntarily also auditor can give. See, circumstances when auditor otherwise desires to communicate the key audit matter paragraph. So if voluntarily you decides to communicate key audit matter paragraph, then also SA-701 will be applicable. Understanding? Next, if it is required by law or regulation to communicate key audit matter, if at all law or regulation asks the auditor you communicate key audit matter in this entity, even though it is a unlisted entity, then also the requirement of SA-701 is applicable. Understanding? So mandatorily for listed entities, auditor needs to give key audit matter paragraph, and voluntarily if he decides to give key audit matter paragraph in any other situation, or if law or regulation asks the auditor to give key audit matter paragraph, in those additional situations also requirements of SA-710 will get applicable. Understanding? Yes. Next note, CAM should not be communicated if auditor disclaims the opinion. This point we have seen even in SA-705 also. Next, purpose of communicating CAM. See, the reason why you are communicating the key audit matter is to increase the communicative value of the audit report. See, enhance communicative value of audit report, and also assist users in understanding the most significant matters. In key audit matter, you are communicating those matters that are very much important to the users for the current period financial those matters very much significant for the current period audit, that matters you are communicating to users, right? So users can get to know about those matters through key audit matter paragraph. These are the two reasons why you are communicating CAM. Understood? Next, determining key audit matter paragraph, key audit matters. How you will determine key audit matters? Basically there are three filters that you will apply for determining key audit matters. So first of all, you will take all the matters communicated to those charged with governance. So first filter is from the matters communicated with those charged with governance. You will take all the matters communicated to those charged with governance. On these matters, you will apply second filter. What is the second filter? Determine matters that require significant auditor attention. So on these matters which I have communicated to those charged with governance, on which matters my significant attention is required, you will take those items, which is second filter. Now for making this determination of which matters require my significant attention, auditor will consider three things. One is areas of higher assessed risk of material misstatement. If the ROMM in that particular area is high, it might require significant attention of the auditor, right? So he will consider this point while determining if the matter requires my significant attention. Next, whether areas that require significant auditor judgment. See, if management has applied their judgment, like for making provision for bad debts or doubtful debts, management will apply the judgment. So if any area requires application of judgment, that area also might be significant for the purpose of auditor. Next, significant events or transactions that have occurred during the year. So all these three things you will consider for determining those items that require significant auditor attention. So that is the second filter. So by taking all matters communicated to those charged with governance, you have taken out those matters that require auditors significant attention. Now from these matters, on these matters, you will apply third filter. What is the third filter? Determine which of the matters so determined above were of most significance in the audit of financial statements of current period, and therefore are key audit matters. So of the matters which require auditor's significance attention, you will determine which matters are important for the current period audit. That is the third filter. So that matters finally you will communicate as a key audit matters in the key audit matter paragraph. Understanding? Yes. Next, determining key audit matter. See, determining matters which are most significant in the audit is a matter of professional judgment. Yes. Next, communication of key audit matters. How you will communicate these key audit matters? First of all, the heading for this paragraph will be use the heading key audit matters, right? Next, in this heading, you will describe each key audit matter in a appropriate subheading. The main heading will be key audit matter. Under that main heading, there will be subheadings because key audit matters can be related to with respect to various areas, like with respect to litigations, with respect to fixed assets, with respect to liabilities, right? So you will use appropriate subheading based on the key audit matter that you are communicating. You can communicate as many key audit matters as you want. It is not that you have to communicate only one key audit matter. Okay. So these key audit matters, they will be related to various areas, so you will use appropriate subheading. And the introductory language of this key audit matter shall contain following. You will give the definition of key audit matters. See, CAM are those matters which are most significant in the audit of current year financial statement, and these matters were addressed in the context of audit, and auditor doesn't provide separate opinion. So this should be the introductory language of a key audit matter paragraph. After that, in each subheading you will describe the key audit matter. You will give three things why you have considered this as key audit matter. See, why the matter was considered to be one of the most significant. Next, this is considered by you as key audit matter, right? Now, how you have dealt with this matter, what audit procedures you have performed on this matter, that also you will see how the matter was addressed in the audit. Next, if this key audit matter is already present in the financial statements, you have to make a reference to that note in the financial statements where this matter is present. See, reference to related disclosures, if any, in the financial statements. Understood? Yes. Next, another question: what if there are no key audit matters? Auditor has not identified any key audit matters in the entity. We have told in case of listed entity it is mandatory to communicate key audit matter paragraph, but auditor has not identified any key audit matters. In such a situation, in the key audit matter paragraph you will give key audit matter paragraph, and in that paragraph you will mention that I have not identified any key audit matters, like this you will mention. But you should not skip the key audit matter paragraph itself in case of listed entities, because for listed entities giving key audit matter paragraph is mandatory. Understood? See, if what if there are no CAM to be communicated, include a statement to this effect in a separate section of the auditor's report under the heading CAM. Understood? Yes. Next, circumstances where the matter determined as CAM is not communicated. Now you have determined certain matters as key audit matters, but you decide not to communicate it in two situations. First of all, law or regulation precludes public disclosure of that matter. Law or regulation doesn't allow that matter to be publicly disclosed. In such a situation, even though you have determined that item as key audit matter, you will not communicate it. Second situation, the disadvantage of communicating key audit matter is more than the advantage that the users will get. In this situation also you will not communicate key audit matters. Understand? See, adverse consequences of doing so would reasonably be expected to outweigh the public interest benefits of such communication. So this generally occurs in case, let's say for example, uh, entity is dealing in manufacturing of some defense equipment related to our army. Now auditor has found that certain item with respect to manufacture of a particular defense equipment as a key audit matter. Now if this item is disclosed publicly, it might cause a threat to the national defense. In such a situation, the disadvantage of disclosing this item is more when compared to the advantage that you get. So you will decide not to communicate this matter as key audit matter. Understanding? So in these two situations, even though you have identified a particular matter as key audit matter, you will not communicate it. Got it? So that is our SA 700. 1. Hope you understood SA-701. See, the purpose of these lectures are to revise the content in as much as the less time as possible. Okay, you can make these lectures the best use if you have properly listened or if you have completed your regular classes. Understanding? Or day before the examination, you can use these lectures to very best of their use. Okay, next we'll go to essay 706, emphasis of matter and other matter paragraph. So before starting this standard, I will just clearly tell you what is the difference between emphasis of matter and other matter paragraph. So starting with emphasis of matter paragraph. Emphasis of matter paragraph means you are emphasizing something that is already present in the financial statements. Now management has already disclosed a particular item in the financial statements, and auditor feels that this item which the management has disclosed is very much important for the users to understand the financial statements. So auditor want the users to see that item which is already disclosed in the financial statements. So what auditor will do? Auditor will emphasize that item which is already there in the financial statements in his audit report in a paragraph known as emphasis of matter paragraph. Understood? That is emphasis of matter paragraph. So emphasis of matter paragraph deals with financial statements, item that is already there in financial statements. Next, other matter paragraph. If auditor wants to communicate to users something about audit, audit report, or auditor's responsibilities, then auditor will use other matter paragraph. Understanding? If auditor wants to communicate about financial statements to the users, auditor will use emphasis of matter paragraph. If auditor wants to communicate about audit that he has conducted, auditor will use other matter paragraph. This is the difference between emphasis of matter and other matter paragraph. In the standard, nothing will be there. Only these 2 points will be there. Understanding the difference between emphasis of matter and other matter paragraph, the standard gets completed. Okay. So let's once go through it. Starting with emphasis of matter paragraph. Here they have given the definition of emphasis of matter paragraph. I have explained you, the same thing will be there here. Next, some important points that you need to consider with respect to emphasis of matter paragraph. So auditor would not be required to modify the opinion because of the matter. Now let's say, for example, we have discussed in SA-705, if auditor gives disclaimer of opinion, then key audit matter paragraph, other information paragraph should not be there in the audit report. Now the question is, if auditor gives emphasis of matter paragraph, can he modify his opinion? The answer is yes. But see, if auditor wants to give modified opinion, in such a situation, auditor can include emphasis of matter paragraph. There is no problem. But the care that has to be taken, the point that has to be remembered is the point, the item. Okay, let's say you have modified your opinion because of fixed assets. Now you should not emphasize the same thing in emphasis of matter paragraph. Understanding? The item because of which you have modified the opinion, the same item you should not emphasize in the emphasis of matter paragraph. That's what you need to remember. Next, matter has not been determined as a key audit matter. Okay, this is also the matter which you are emphasizing in the emphasis of matter paragraph should not be determined as a key audit matter paragraph, because if you are already communicating in key audit matter paragraph, why again dual communication and again in emphasis of matter paragraph? Correct or not? Next, use the heading that includes the term emphasis of matter. Okay, the heading should contain the term emphasis of matter. Next, include a clear reference to matter being emphasized, because that matter will be already present in the financial statements. That matter only you are emphasizing. So you need to give clear reference to where that item can be found out in the financial statements. The note number you need to give the reference. Next, refer only to information presented or disclosed in the financial statement. This is important. If let's say any item is not properly disclosed or presented in the financial statements, then you cannot emphasize it in the emphasis of matter paragraph. Only if it is properly presented or disclosed in the financial statements, you can emphasize it. Understanding. Next, indicate that auditor's opinion is not modified in respect of this matter that the auditor has emphasized. So I am just emphasizing this matter. You should not consider that I am modifying the opinion. Understanding. Yes. So this is the discussion about emphasis of matter paragraph. Next, other matter paragraph. So what is the definition of other matter paragraph? If you want to communicate something about the audit or auditor's responsibility or the audit report, then the auditor will use other matter paragraph. Correct or not? So the same definition you will find it here. And some of the important points with respect to other matter paragraph. See, this should not be prohibited by law or regulation. Of course, law or regulation should not prohibit this matter from communicating in other matter paragraph. And this matter has not been determined as the same point that we have discussed in emphasis of matter paragraph. Next, you need to use the heading as other matter. So these are some of the important points with respect to other matter paragraph. So SA 706 also completed. Just left with only one standard, which is SA 710. Let us discuss SA 710 also. So once we discuss SA-710, this chapter gets completed. Understanding. So within around 1 hour or 1 hour 15 minutes, we are discussing this entire chapter. So SA-710. So SA-710 deals with comparative information. Now this comparative information is of two types. What is meant by comparative information? In your financial statements, along with the current year figures, you will give previous year figures also. Correct or not? That is nothing but a comparative information. This comparative information is of two types. One is corresponding figures. So in the financial statements, the beside column, the previous year amounts you will present, that is nothing but a corresponding figures. And comparative information can also be in the form of comparative financial statements. That means instead of just giving the amounts, you will give entire financial statement of previous year in the current year also for comparison purpose. Understanding. That is known as comparative financial statements. So comparative information can be of two types. One is corresponding figures. Example, along with the current year figures, you are also presenting the previous year figures. Only amounts you are presenting, that will be corresponding figures. Next, if you present the entire financial statements of previous year in the current year financial statements for comparison purpose, that becomes a comparative financial statements. Understanding. So here you will find definitions for comparative information, corresponding figures, and comparative financial statements. The explanation I have given, the same explanation you will find in the definition. So corresponding figures are given as integral part of current year figures. So without having current year figures, you cannot read corresponding figures. But comparative financial statements is not like that. Even though you don't have current year financial statements, you can read the comparative financial statements individually on their own also. You can read and understand. Okay. Next, what are the audit procedures that you will perform on these comparative information? See, comparative information you are bringing from last year, right? So the comparative information that you are presenting in the current year should agree with the last year. Correct or not? So ensure comparative information agrees with amounts and disclosures presented in the prior period. Next, accounting policies that has been followed in the last year should be consistently applied in the current year also. So accounting policies are consistently applied, like method of depreciation. Let's say in the previous year you have followed straight line method, in the current year also you should follow straight line method. Consistency should be there. If in case you have used WDV in previous year, you followed SLM, now you want to change it to WDV, okay, you change it, but account it properly. Okay, when you are changing the method, the effect should be given retrospectively, not prospectively. So the respective accounting treatment, you do it properly. Okay, if at all there is a change in the accounting policy, then you need to account it properly. Understanding? Yes. So those three procedures you will perform. Next, coming to reporting. So reporting is the final concept under this SA-700. Once reporting is completed, SA-700 gets completed. Now reporting, it is three parts. First one, reporting that is applicable exclusively to corresponding figures. Next, reporting that is applicable exclusively to comparative financial statements. Next, reporting that is applicable common to both corresponding figures and comparative financial statements. Understood? Now we will see. Now, starting with reporting applicable to corresponding figures. Okay. So the basic rule in case of corresponding figures is, when management has given corresponding figures in the financial statements, auditor's opinion should not refer to the corresponding figures. That is the basic rule. Okay, what is the basic rule in case of corresponding figures? Auditor's opinion in the audit report, auditor should not refer to corresponding figures. That is the basic rule. But there are two exceptions to this basic rule. That means in these two exceptional situations, auditor in his audit report can refer to corresponding figures. What are those two exceptional situations? We will see. Exclusive reporting for a corresponding figure. The basic rule: auditor's opinion shall not refer to corresponding figures except in the following two exceptional situations. First exceptional situation: prior period, that means in the last year, included a modified opinion, and matter which gave rise to such modification is unresolved. Still that unresolved matter, it is current, continuing in current year also. That means in the previous year there is a misstatement because of which modification is given, and it is not corrected in the current year also. That means in the corresponding figures there will be wrong amount only will be shown, a misstatement only will be shown. So in this situation, auditor in his audit report, he will refer to the corresponding figures because there is a misstatement in the corresponding figures. Understanding? See, to modification is unresolved, auditor shall modify current year financial statements, stating that I am modifying current year financial statements because of a misstatement in the corresponding figure. Like this, you will refer to corresponding figure. Next exceptional situation: if auditor has a sufficient evidence that a material misstatement exists in the financial statements of prior year. Okay, the predecessor auditor has not identified any misstatements in the previous year financial statements, like in the first situation. Okay, in the first situation, what has happened? Predecessor auditor itself has identified the misstatement and he has modified the opinion in the previous year financial statements, but that misstatement is not corrected even in the current year. But in the second situation, prior period auditor has not identified the misstatement. He has given normal unmodified opinion, but current auditor, the current period auditor identified the misstatement. So if the current period auditor has identified the misstatements, it means that there is a misstatement in the corresponding figures. If there is a misstatement in the previous year that has been identified by the current auditor, that means that there is a misstatement even in the corresponding figures. In such a situation also, auditor will refer to corresponding figures. See, if auditor has sufficient evidence that material misstatement exists in the financial statements of prior period which was not addressed earlier, that means in the prior period the predecessor auditor has given a unmodified opinion, clean opinion only. In such a situation also, auditor will refer to corresponding figures in the current year because there is a misstatement that the current auditor has identified in the corresponding figures. Understanding? Next, audit reporting exclusively for comparative financial statements. Now in case of comparative financial statements, the basic rule is always auditor must refer, or always auditor should give opinion on the comparative financial statements. See, financial year, yeah, financial year. Okay, this is also becoming big. Yeah. Just a second. Okay, so financial year 23-24, auditor would have audited these financial statements. Let's say auditor has given a unmodified opinion. Okay, next financial year. This also I need to change. Hmm. Next financial year 2024-25. Now, let's say for this current period financial statements, comparative financial statements have been given. That means the entire financial statements of 23-24 will be again given even in the current period also. So, financial year 2023-24 complete financial statements will be given for comparison purposes. Now, in this situation, if management has given a comparative financial statements, then the basic rule is auditor has to give opinion on the current year financial statements. However, he will give even on the comparative financial statement also. Again, you need to give the opinion. Okay, you might have already given opinion in the previous year on the same financial statements. Same financial statements are given in the current year for comparison purposes, but even though you need to again give the opinion on the comparative financial statements. This is the basic rule in case of comparative financial statements. Understanding? Yes. Now let's say for example, here in the previous year you have given unmodified opinion, and in the current year on the comparative financial statements you are giving a qualified opinion. Okay, you are giving a qualified opinion. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Okay, in the previous year you have arrived at unmodified opinion, but by performing some procedures on same financial statements in the current year on that comparative you are arriving at a qualified opinion. It is possible. So now it means on financial year 23-24 financial statements which you have given earlier, there you have given unmodified opinion, but the same financial statements in the current year you have given for comparison purposes as comparative financial statements. On that you are arriving at qualified opinion. In this situation, in the current audit report, you need to give the reasons in the other matter paragraph. Okay, in the other matter paragraph of current year's audit report, you need to tell the reasons why you have arrived at a different opinion on comparative financial statements that is different from the previous year. Okay, on the same financial statements previous year you have given unmodified, on the same financial statements now you are giving a qualified opinion. Why? What is the reason? You need to mention in other matter paragraph. Understanding? Yes, this is the reporting requirement in case of comparative financial statements. See, the basic rule: auditor's opinion shall refer to each period for which financial statements are prepared. Next, if auditor's opinion on prior period financial statements that are included in the current period financial statements differs from the opinion previously expressed, disclose the reasons for same in other matter paragraph. Next, material misstatements in prior period financial statements but predecessor auditor reported without modification, and our current auditor has found out those misstatements which were not found out by the predecessor auditor. Now, our auditor will communicate with management and those charged with governance and request the predecessor auditor to be informed. Management, there are misstatements in the previous year financial statements. The predecessor auditor has not identified them. You please bring this to the notice of predecessor auditor. And if management amends the financial statements, see, if prior period financial statements are amended and predecessor auditor issues a new report, then current period auditor report, the current auditor shall report only on the current period financial statements. Understanding? Yes, that is reporting that is exclusively applicable for comparative financial statements. Next, reporting that is applicable common, see, common to both corresponding figures and comparative financial statements. So firstly, if prior period financial statements audited by predecessor auditor. So prior period financial statements audited by predecessor auditor. In such a situation, the current auditor in his audit report, in the other matter paragraph, he should mention the fact that prior period financial statements are audited by some other auditor. See why you are using other matter paragraph, because you are communicating something about audit. That's why you are using other matter paragraph. And you should also mention type of opinion that the predecessor auditor has given in the previous year audit report, and what is the date of that previous year audit report. These three things you need to mention. Next, if in case prior period financial statements are not at all audited, then also in the other matter paragraph you will state the fact that the prior period financial statements have not been audited. See, state in other matter paragraph that compared to financial statements are unaudited. Understood? So this is the complete discussion of our standards related to SA 700, which is fifth chapter. Got it? So I'll be winding up this class as of now. We'll meet in the next class with revision of a new chapter. Until then, take care. Bye bye. See you.